only about 0.0000003% of all YouTube users is subscribed to my channel. Let's change that. Subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any more of my content. Enjoy the video. All right, this video is kind of just a rant video. I've been checking out the frames and how long it takes for you to be accurate, right? Or how long you have to be accurate when you're moving side to side, when you're strafing, right? When you're strafing back and forth, how you counter strafe and you A to one side, or you strafe the left, and then as you change directions, you fire and you're accurate, and then your character starts to move back to the other direction when you strafe the opposite direction, and then you fire and then you strafe in the opposite direction, right? So I'm using a Guardian here because I'm pretty sure the Guardian is probably the most accurate weapon you can use while you're standing still, if you're not firing it, repeatedly over and over and over and over. I'm not at head height because that's not what we're here for. I'm just firing at the wall to be accurate. One of my shots was inaccurate, and I'm glad it was, because I needed to compare how early, like if I did it too early or I did it too late or something like that. But one of my shots I shot too early, so it was inaccurate. Then I'll show you what I mean and what I was doing, right? So I have the thing on the screen here for the overlay for the buttons and the mouse, right? And this, going through this, I've learned that this overlay is one frame late on when you're pressing buttons. So you have to keep that in mind. You'll see the muzzle flash, and when I'm going through it frame by frame, you'll see the muzzle flash come up before the mouse button is pressed. It's one frame before the mouse button is pressed. Keep that in mind. If any of my math with the frames is off, please let me know. But this is a rough idea of how I've found that right now. I believe there's a 5-frame window that you have while you're switching directions that you're accurate in. This is basically what I was doing. What I did in the range. I missed the one that was inaccurate. The first shot is accurate. The second shot is inaccurate. All the other shots are accurate, and you can tell by looking up here at the top of my screen where the shooting error is, and the blue bars mean movement error. I have no movement error except on that one shot, right? No movement error except on the one shot. Right? Okay. So now we're going to look at it in slow motion. That's the inaccurate shot. You see up there's a blue bar. And then the next shot, you can't see that there's any inaccuracy, or because the blue bar has to go away first. It shows the highest amount of error you have, and the other ones are no error, so they're low, like they're very, very low. When the blue bar goes away, you see them come back. And now that's what the standard is. There is no error in my shots, right? And I'm moving back and forth. That we know. We know that that's what that is. Counter strafing, moving back and forth, and being accurate within your direction changes, right? So now we're going to go back here, and we're going to zoom in. Zoom in some here, right? And now we're going to go, let me see. Let me go frame by frame. Okay. So we're going to look at the first shot. So in the first shot, I'm moving to the right, right? We're holding D, we're moving to the right. And since the input error, or excuse me, the input overlay is one frame late, when I let go of the button, I'm going to assume that it's one frame late. There is no delay on me. I left the setting off that shows it to delay for longer. So it's when I release the button, it releases the color on the button, but it's one frame late. So I let go of the button one frame late. So we're gonna go over here. We're moving one frame till we get to where I press A. Okay, so the A is pressed, and that's 1 frame late. So I started pressing A here. This is where I pressed A. This is the frame that I pressed A, right? If you notice, I'm moving to the right. This frame, I'm still moving to the right. This is where I started pressing A. I'm still moving to the right, right? And now there are both buttons held down. And remember, it releases 1 frame late. I'm moving, still moving to the right while I have both buttons held down. Moving to the right. Now I have released it. This is, what is it? Okay, this is the frame where I released it, right? Next frame, I stop, and I'm still, right? And I'm getting ready to be moving back in the other direction. That's what it looks like. So it looks like actually there's still some movement to the right, even though I let go of D, right? I let go of D, and I'm still pressing down A, and there's still a little bit of movement to the right. Still movement to the right. Now is when I start to move back to the opposite direction. But we want to count the frames of when I press the button. So like maybe it like I went through this before, and my numbers might be a little off. But I was counting the frames after I press the opposite direction to go back the other way. So let me do it. Let me do it this way until I notice. Okay, I didn't take the shot yet. I didn't take the shot yet. So here's where I take the shot. This is where I'm completely still, right? So I'll go here, I'm moving, and this is where I take the shot, and as the animation ends, I'm already moving back in the other direction, right? But my shot was accurate. If you look at the top, my shot was accurate. So we're gonna go back, and we're gonna count the frames from the time that from the frame after I pressed down the A button to go in the opposite direction. This is what I was using as a metric to see how much time I had in between pressing the opposite direction and firing my gun, right? So this is the frame where we pressed A. This is the frame where the input shows that we pressed the A. So it's a frame late. Remember that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 frames after we press down the A button, I take the shot. And then the next frame is when the input will show on the mouse. So 11 frames after I press down the A button is when I take my shot, and my shot is accurate. You can check it at the top of the screen. You see the orange bar, no movement error. The second shot was the shot that was inaccurate. This is the second shot that was inaccurate. So I get here and I press it too early. So this is the frame where we press the D. This is the frame where it shows the D. Pause. And so that's 1, 2, 3. Wait for the thing. 4, 5. So I pressed it 5 frames after I pressed down the A button, right? Excuse me, the D button. I pressed it 5 frames after I pressed down the D, and it fired inaccurately, right? And you can check it at the top of the screen. You see the blue bar. I was still moving, right? I pressed it too early. The next shot, all the other shots after this are all accurate. So this is the next shot. This is when we press the A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 frames after I press down the A, accurate shot, right? So far, these are the highest and lowest that I've gotten for all the shots that I took, right? So I can go through them, we can count them, but these are the highest and lowest values I got for when I took the shot. 11 frames and 7 frames. So between 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, that's 5 frames. It's 5 frames that you have, 5 frames worth of time that you have to take your shot. while you are changing directions. 5 frames is a lot of frames. A lot of frames. In fighting games, we have to punish things with 3-frame normals with a 3-frame like gap, right? So in combos sometimes are just frame timings, or you have to do just frame timings where you're doing things within 1 frame, where you have to press extra buttons to get those that 1 frame to work out, where you have to plink something, where you have to link 2 buttons together to get it to come out in 1 frame, like stuff like that. So I'm very in tune with like frames and like animation of stuff to kind of understand how much time I have to press a button. And 5 frames is a lot. 5 frames in Street Fighter is a lot. If you throw out a move and somebody blocks it and you're -5, you're gonna take a lot of damage, because there's a lot of moves that are 5 frames that go into a lot of like big damage combos, right? This is talking about Street Fighter 5. Other games may have slightly different frame data, but in Street Fighter 5, 5 frames will get you damaged a whole lot, right? So it's a big commitment, 5 frames. There's a lot of frames to have to be able to take your shot. So far I haven't gotten anything that is 12 frames. Like I haven't shot 12 frames after, and I haven't shot anything that was 6 frames. I don't really have any way to try to get it to exactly be 6 frames, or to try to get it to be exactly 12 frames to see if it's a bigger window. But 5 frames is enough for me to know that I have a plenty of time to take my shot while I'm strafing back and forth to take these shots. Before, I thought it was 4 frames, which is still kind of a lot, but right now I know I have a 5-frame window, and that's huge. That's gonna definitely help me, and hopefully it helps somebody else out there to understand how much time you have in between while you're counter strafing.